Hey everyone, today we're checking out some of the best deals that you can still pick up before the massive indie eShop sale ends at midnight tomorrow. We'll start with games under $5 and work our way up, but we'll keep everything budget friendly as always. Thank you all for hanging out. I hope everyone had a great weekend, and if you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button for us, and hopefully if you're new, we can earn a subscription as well. Alright, let's dive in. Stay safe out there. Alright, we'll start today with Joe Dever's Lone Wolf, which is a single-player RPG with an interesting story, and it gives players two main gameplay phases, with the first being an interactive narrative adventure told to players through the main storybook, which the entire game takes place within. Now, as you read through and make your choices, you'll have these turn-based battles that are thrown in, and it all ties in nicely with one another. The combat itself also has these active button cues similar to past Xenoblade games, and the timing becomes very important by the end of the game. Right now you can pick it up for just $2.49, marked down 75%, and matching a previous low until the 26th. Next we have the Amnesia collection, which is a package of 3 games that excels in giving players a truly atmospheric horror experience here on the Switch. You'll get the original game where we play as a young man lost in a mysterious castle, and you have to outrun a shadowy figure that always seems to be following you. You'll also get the 2 additional stories, both Justine and A Machine for Pigs, with Justine adding in the permadeath and A Machine for Pigs being the sequel of sorts taking place at the same time as the first game, but in a different timeline. Now the biggest issue you'll have to contend with is losing your sanity while playing through these games, and only finding a light source or creating one can restore it. Now this does sound easy, but with limited resources and enemies always lurking, it becomes very tense and heart-pounding. Overall, you get a ton of content at an incredibly low price of just $2.99, and you can pick it up with a 90% discount until the 26th, but the download is around 5.3 gigs, so make sure you have space. Next we have Broforce, which is a really fun multiplayer game with both local and online for up to 4 people, and the connections have always been stable when we tried to play in the past. It's themed around classic movie and TV action heroes from the 80s and 90s, and basically just has you and some buddies blasting through the stages, trying to reach the end and get to the chopper. The game is a total blast by yourself, but with 4 people it becomes pure chaos, and definitely worth checking out if you have some friends to play with. While on sale for just $2.99, it's marked down 80% and matching a previous low until the 26th, with the download around 700 megabytes. 8 Doors Arum's Afterlife Adventure is a unique single-player Metroidvania where we play as a young girl working through the different stages of purgatory in an attempt to uncover what happened to our father. The game has a download around 1.3 gigs and offers more than 10 hours of gameplay on average. Now the art design is definitely the standout here, but the combat and controls are great as well, and as you work through the game you'll unlock the 8 different doors, and I love how it evolves as you delve deeper into the mystery. It's definitely a hidden gem in my opinion, and right now it's marked down 80% to just $3.99, matching an all-time low until the 3rd. Minute of Islands is a single-player 2D puzzle platformer with a roughly 2 gig download and a main story that will last roughly 5 to 6 hours to wrap up. Now in this one we play as a young tinkerer named Mo, equipped with a magical Omni Switch, and you'll need this to solve puzzles and work your way through the story. Now the story itself is presented as an internal narration from the main character, and the game is very friendly to new gamers or younger gamers, as most of the puzzles are pretty simple, and your Omni Switch can also guide you in the right direction if you happen to get lost. The game has a gorgeous art style and runs well on the Switch, and right now it's on sale for just $3.99, marked down 80% to a brand new low, and the deal ends on the 10th of May. Bloodstained Curse of the Moon is back on sale at half price this week, and if you haven't played this one I highly recommend giving it a shot if you consider yourself a fan of retro gaming, and even more if you enjoy the old Castlevania games. It plays a lot like those, only with more fluid movement and even better controls. Now the music is outstanding as well, even if it doesn't quite live up to the older games, and it offers players a few different ways to play through, giving it a decent amount of replay value for once you finish the roughly 5-hour story. Right now you can pick it up for just $4.99 again until the 26th, and the download is under 100 megabytes. Up next we have Ruiner, which is a dark and gritty top-down twin-stick shooter with a pretty hefty download around 7.6 gigs, but it does offer roughly 10 to 15 hours of main story that's full of memorable moments and a ton of fun gameplay. The shooting mechanics feel great and overall controls well, plus the boss battles are a lot of fun too. Of course, as you can see, the game has a unique graphical style to it, and again a ton of action all the way through, and right now it's on sale for just $3.99, marked down 80%, again matching an all-time low until the 26th. Atomicrops is a single-player action-adventure title with a download around 1.9 gigs and a main story that could take more than 20 hours to finish up. Now this one is a roguelike and also a farming sim as well. Basically, you'll have to grow crops and feed your local townsfolk while also defending the town from creatures and other bad guys that will try to invade at night. The more relationships you build naturally means the more help that you'll have to defend the town, and it would definitely be needed. It's another really cool and unique game, and right now it's on sale for just $4.49, marked down 70% until the 26th. Up next we have Wandersong, which is another very unique game. This time it's a 2D platformer where music can be used as both a tool and as a weapon. Now the musical moments act like a mini-game of sorts, and the way they implement it into the story and gameplay is great. In this one, we play as a young bard tasked with putting an end to an invasion of ghosts into our hometown, and it offers more than 10 hours of gameplay with gorgeous colorful environments and characters, making it a great value at its current sale price of just $4.99, and you can pick it up with a 75% discount until the 27th, and the download is around 2.3 gigs. What Remains of Edith Finch is a collection of single-player adventures that in total will take roughly 3 to 4 hours to finish up. It's a series of strange tales about a family in Washington state where players take the role of Edith and have to explore this massive Finch house trying to uncover the mystery of her family's dark history. Now this is more of an experience than a game, so to speak, and can really recreate the feeling of being transported into the pages of a very emotional book. The game is more about atmosphere and the feeling that you get from being in this home and learning all these different stories, so make sure you know what type of game you're getting here. If it is for you though, right now it's on sale for just $4.99, marked down 75% and matching an all-time low until the 26th. Up next we have Guns, Gore, and Cannoli 2, which is a 2D run-and-gun action platformer and the sequel to another true hidden gem here on the Switch. Now with the sequel, they changed the control scheme up a bit, added in some new features, and even added in online play for up to 4 people, making this one of my favorite picks for the week. It has a download just under 2 gigs and offers about 5 hours of gameplay, but there's a ton of replay value as well, and just like with the first game, the gameplay loop is a lot of fun, and the story is top tier, almost like watching a Godfather movie or something like that, just in animated form. Right now it's on sale for just $5.19, marked down 60%, again until the 26th. Blazing Chrome is another side-scrolling platform shooter with a download around 140 megabytes, and it offers about 3 to 4 hours of main story gameplay. However, it also has a ton of replay value. It offers local co-op for 2 players, which is always a plus to me, and it gives us 5 different stages to blast our way through with really cool boss battles and intense action, tight controls, and an amazing retro look and sound. This one absolutely feels like playing an older retro game that was just tough as nails. Right now you can pick it up for just $6.79, matching an all-time low until the 26th. Next we have Fight and Rage, which is a side-scrolling beat-em-up with local co-op for up to 3 people, and it has a download around 450 megabytes. Now this one offers more than 24 hours of gameplay on average, and like with most beat-em-ups, there's a ton of replay value here as well. Plus the game was recently given a free update which added in some new gameplay modes and features, and it has that awesome combo system, tons of unlockables, an extreme challenge mode for even the most hardcore of gamers, and it has multiple endings based on how you play throughout the game. This is definitely one of the better indie beat-em-ups here on the console, and right now it's marked down 65% and matching an all-time low of just $6.99. Again, the deal ends on the 26th. Disc Room is a pretty addictive top-down arcade-style puzzler with a download around 390 megabytes, and it offers roughly 4 to 5 hours of gameplay on average. In this one, we play as a young scientist, and we have to make our way through a maze of booby-trapped rooms full of deadly saw blades. The controls are tight and responsive, and it never feels like any deaths are cheap, plus each time that you die you learn from it, and you'll be better prepared for the next run. Right now it's on sale for just $7.49, half price until the 26th, again an all-time low. Next we have Castle Crashers Remastered, which is another arcade-style game, this time a beat-em-up with both local and online co-op for up to 4 people. It has a download under 200 megabytes and offers more than 12 hours of gameplay, plus there are more than 25 different characters, tons of weapon variety, and even a leveling system to reward your hard work. On top of that, the game achieves a smooth 60 FPS, and in addition to the co-op, it offers PvP options as well, so you can battle with friends too. Right now it's on sale for just $7.49, marked down half price, and the deal ends on the 26th. Tales of Iron is a single-player action RPG with a download around 1.7 gigs, and it offers about 10 hours of gameplay. Now the story is engaging and really entertaining, the combat is fun and surprisingly in-depth, and it does require a bit of strategy. On top of that, the boss battles are amazing, and while they can be quite challenging, they're also very rewarding as well. In fact, progression feels great overall in this game. It also has a very easy to learn and useful crafting system in place, and fans of tougher RPGs will definitely want to check it out. Right now it's on sale for just $8.74, matching an all-time low until the 30th. Phoenotopia Awakening is a single-player retro 2D RPG with a download around 1 gig, and it offers more than 50 hours of gameplay. The pixel art and retro sound are absolutely top-notch, and the game features challenging combat, unique puzzles, and encourages exploration as well. Now the story revolves around a young girl who, while out gathering the rest of the children, gets sidetracked, and while away the entire town disappears, leaving just her and her friends to uncover the mystery. Now along the way you'll face off with bosses that test your skills and reflexes, uncover secrets, find hidden collectibles, and of course form relationships with the NPCs that will ultimately help save your home. Right now it's on sale for just $8.99, marked down 55% until the 5th of May. Alright, we'll start today with Crossing Souls, which is a single-player top-down adventure title with a retro look and sound. It has a download around 3.2 gigs and offers roughly 9 to 10 hours of gameplay on average. It's a story about time travel and takes place in the 80s, revolving around 5 main characters, all of which play a bit differently from one another, and you can swap between them on the fly. In fact, you'll actually need to do this pretty often to take out different enemies or solve the random puzzles. If you're interested in Crossing Souls, you can pick it up on sale this weekend for just $2.24, marked down 85% to a new low, and the deal ends on the 26th. Redeemer the Enhanced Edition is a top-down brawler with a download around 3.6 gigs, and it offers local co-op for up to 2 players. Now the main story should take roughly 7 to 8 hours to complete, and it features some incredibly brutal combat, offering a wide variety of cool melee and ranged weapons, plus it has some cool executions you can pull off as well. The story is compelling, the game controls well, and the ability to play with friends is always a bonus. Right now you can pick up Redeemer the Enhanced Edition at a new low of just $2.99, marked down 80% until the 26th. Up next we have Void Scrappers, which is another indie title that's aiming to recapture the magic of Vampire Survivors, and this time they've added a sci-fi twist into it. The game has a download around 350 megabytes, and you can expect dozens of hours of gameplay, as these can be pretty addictive. Now with this one you get 12 playable characters, and overall it feels much faster than most games in the genre, and the pilots you can pick between also have different weapons and starter abilities, so you'll want to find your favorite as you work to unlock all of the extras that are available in the game. Right now you can pick up Void Scrappers for just $3.19, marked down 20% until the 3rd of May. Up next we have Grimvalor, which is an amazing 2D action RPG with a 1 gig download and a story that should last players more than 10 hours to wrap up. It has great controls, fast action, fun combat, and they even offer a new game plus for added replay value. Now in this one we set out to discover what happened to our lost king while fighting off an invasion as we work through the castle. It's a surprisingly deep game with upgrades, secrets, and tons of content, and right now it's on sale for just $3.89, a new low until the 26th. Up next we have 9 Monkeys of Shaolin, which is a cooperative beat 'em up with both local and online play for 2 people at a time. It has a 4 gig download and offers roughly 5 to 10 hours of gameplay. Now the game has more than 20 awesome levels to punch and kick your way through, and it has unlockable buffs, items, and even new fighting styles as well. On top of that, it has a gorgeous presentation here on the Switch, and it controls and feels great. Right now it's on sale for just $3.99, marked down 80% until the 26th. Next we have Slipstream, which is a multiplayer racer with a retro-inspired look and sound to it, and it has a small download just under 360 megabytes. Now the game also has local co-op for up to 4 players and offers plenty of variety and replayability to justify the price. You have races from all over the world, a couple of cool mechanics you can use including the Slipstream and rewind abilities, plus the game runs great here on the Switch. If you enjoy a good retro racer, be sure to check this one out before the sale ends on the 26th. Right now it's marked down 55% to a new low of just $4.49. Golf Story is a unique RPG from Sidebar Games that combines the sport of golf with traditional mechanics you'd find in a top-down retro RPG or adventure title, and then mixes them up a bit, and the result was one of the better indie titles that we had as players early on here on the Switch. Now the story revolves around a golfer forced to sacrifice everything to fulfill his dreams, and it gives the player a fully fleshed out story and RPG with some fun mechanics. It has a download around 1.3 gigs and should take roughly 15 to 20 hours to wrap up, and right now you can pick it up for just $4.99, marked down nearly 70%, and the deal ends again on the 26th. Kaze and the Wild Masks is a gorgeous single-player platform adventure title with a download around 1 gig and a story that should last roughly 7 to 8 hours to wrap up. Now the game looks and feels like classic platformers from the 90s and features more than 80 levels including bonus stages, plus it has a cool mask mechanic that allows you to use different abilities as you progress through. Right now it's on sale for just $4.99, marked down 83% to a brand new low, and this is the first time we've seen the game under $5, so I highly recommend picking it up this weekend. The deal ends again on the 26th. Narita Boy is a single-player strategy adventure game with a download just over 900 megabytes, and it offers roughly 7 to 8 hours of main story gameplay. Now it takes place in the 80s and the story is incredibly deep. It deals with some heavy issues, but in a unique way. When you combine that with the graphics, it makes for a very strange and one-of-a-kind experience. Now the platforming and controls feel great, and there's a surprising amount of action as well, plus you get new skills and unlockables along the way too, and if you're interested in Narita Boy, be sure to pick it up before the sale ends on May 6th. Right now it's on sale for just $4.99, again a new low and finally under $5. Next we have Ash of God's Redemption. This is a single-player strategy RPG with a story that presents more like a graphic novel than anything else. Now the combat is something akin to games like Final Fantasy Tactics with grid-based movement and turn-based attacks, and it offers more than 20 hours of gameplay on average, with a download around 4.3 gigs. Now during the story you'll play as 3 different protagonists, each fighting off their own version of the Reaping, which threatens to wipe out all of humankind. This is another game that gives tons of content to the player, and when you can get it at a new low of just $3.99, it's definitely worth checking out. The deal ends again on the 26th. A Short Hike is a memorable single-player adventure title with a gorgeous pixelated art style and an immersive soundtrack. In addition, the characters you meet are unique and you genuinely want to complete the different objectives they ask for help with. Now as you play through, you'll find different secrets or items that you can use, and you'll increase your ability to get around by either climbing or gliding. It's definitely a peaceful game that's focused on exploration, and the only real downside is that it's only about an hour to an hour and a half long, but it will stick with you for sure. Right now it's on sale for $5.19, marked down 35% until the 26th. Greak Memories of Azur is a gorgeous single-player puzzle platformer with a download around 1.6 gigs, and it offers an emotional story that should last roughly 8 to 9 hours to wrap up. Now the unique feature with this one is that the game allows you and at times requires you to play as multiple different characters at one time. It is very creative, and while it may take a few minutes to get the hang of it, once you do you'll start naturally working out the puzzles and getting around the levels in no time. On top of that, the combat is fun and the controls feel great, so it's never a chore to play either. Right now you can pick this gem up for $5.99, marked down 70% to a new low, and the deal ends on the 6th. Up next we have Samurai Bringer, which is a single-player top-down roguelike with a download around 370 megabytes, and it offers about 10 hours of main story gameplay. Now in this one we play as an exiled god, and thus as you progress through, you unlock different abilities that were lost upon being punished. The game is surprisingly deep with a ton of abilities that you can switch in and out after unlocking them, and this adds a ton of variety to how you choose to tackle each situation. The graphics and sound design are pretty solid, and it runs well here on the Switch. Right now you can pick it up for just $6.99, again a new low until the 26th. Ocean's Heart is a single-player action RPG that was heavily inspired by the Super Nintendo classic, A Link to the Past. The game has a download around 310 megabytes, and the main story will last more than 10 hours to finish up. The retro aesthetic and top-down view take you right back to the 16-bit days, and fans of the genre will recognize items and puzzle concepts right away. The world is massive and each zone is connected to the next. Some areas will require special items to reach, or you might need to hire someone to give you a ride to a remote island on a boat or something like that. And the dungeons were a highlight, of course, with the boss battles at the end being really fun. Right now you can pick it up for just $7.49, which is a steal at half price, and the deal ends on the 26th. Up next we have Wolfstride, which is a single-player RPG that follows a group of misfits and criminals given the opportunity to clear their past by winning a mech combat tournament. The download is just over 5 gigs, and your runtime will vary quite a bit depending on how quickly you pick up the different mechanics that are at play here. Now the gameplay is split between two different sections. You have the mech combat, which is a ton of fun, and then you have the 2D exploration segments, which were a nice change of pace in between the battles. The dialogue does have a comedic tone overall, and it hits sometimes while missing at others, and if you're interested in this one, be sure to pick it up before the sale ends on the 26th. It's just $7.49 right now, again a new low. Youropa is a unique single-player puzzle-style adventure game with a download around 1 gig, and it features a pretty cool mechanic where you can walk around the different sections of this broken city, defying gravity and solving puzzles, but if you happen to make the wrong step off of a ledge, gravity will return, sending you falling into the clouds. Now the main character is customizable, and that can be pretty fun to play around with, but for the most part I just tried to work through the story without really worrying about it, as the character never really has much personality anyway. If you're interested in Youropa, it's on sale at half price until the 26th, bringing it down to just $7.49. Up next we have Hyper 5, which is a single-player arcade shooter here on the Switch, and it has a download around 1.4 gigs. It offers 2 different ways to play, one basically being story mode, which is much easier and great for beginners, or you can go with the more advanced difficulty made for experienced players. On top of that, it has a pretty cool presentation with levels that can provide genuine moments of excitement, and they're full of enemies, so you're always given something to do with little downtime in between. It also incentivizes replaying through the levels in order to complete all the different objectives, which will reward points that you can spend to upgrade weapons or other things to make the game even more fun and a bit less grindy. Right now you can pick it up for just $7.99, a new low until the 2nd. ScourgeBringer is a single-player 2D action platformer, and it offers roughly 9 to 10 hours of gameplay with a download around 390 megabytes. Now this game is ultra challenging, and fans of true video game punishment will fall in love. As far as the roguelike genre goes, this game is a must play at least once. The controls are amazing, the game looks gorgeous on the Switch, and the soundtrack was top notch. The dungeons are procedurally generated and the boss battles are absolutely fantastic, and if you enjoy a good challenge, definitely check out ScourgeBringer before the sale ends on the 27th. It's marked down to half price, making it $8.49, and again a new low. Dying Light: The Definitive Edition is a first-person action-adventure title with both local and online multiplayer options, and it joins the list of impossible ports here on the Switch. It's impressive how well it runs, and while some graphical downgrades were made, of course, that never takes away from the experience, even if you played on other consoles. Now, this version includes all of the DLC and bonuses that have been added since release, and even though the start of the game is a bit slow, the payoff for pushing through the 30-plus hour story is well worth it. At the core, it's a zombie shooter with an emphasis on exploration and parkouring around these different areas, while giving the player a story that does enough to push you forward all the way through. It does run at a higher resolution in docked mode, but it remains pretty stable at 720 in handheld and maintains a smooth frame rate. This is definitely my deal of the week at just $9.99. It's marked down 80% to a new low, and the deal ends on the 4th. Gaiden is an amazing action platformer from East Asia Soft with a download around 1.1 gigs, and the game is pretty difficult, so you can expect to get several hours before wrapping it up. It offers players a wide variety of cool moves that you can pull off or upgrades to find as you blast your way through the stages, which of course you can take on in any order that you prefer, similar to the old Mega Man games, and clearly that was the inspiration behind a lot of the game. It also has 2-player local co-op as well, and right now it's on sale for just $10.49, marked down 30% to a new low, and the deal ends on the 26th. Next we have the Zombie Army Trilogy, which is a collection of third-person action-adventure titles from Rebellion Interact. It has a download around 5 gigs and offers players dozens of hours of intense gameplay for a nice low price. You can take the games online or play in local co-op as well, which is always a nice addition, and once you finish the main games, you can even extend the playtime with the Endless Horde mode, which will surely test your skills you've learned while playing. In addition, the game offers you a choice of 8 playable characters with customizable loadouts, and the X-ray cam is intact in all of its glory. Right now you can pick this up for just $11.89, marked down 66% to a brand new low, and the deal ends on the 26th. Agent Intercept is a single-player arcade-style action game with a download around 2 gigs, and it follows a secret group called the Agency as they battle it out with a criminal organization called the Claw. Now the game is basically a mix of fast-paced racing and on-rail shooting, presented almost like an action movie in a lot of ways, with cinematic moments scattered throughout the stages. Each mission you set out with the main objective as well as a few bonus objectives, and the story is fully voice acted, which does make the characters feel a bit more memorable, plus the soundtrack is outstanding. The game also has a ton of replay value as it's a score chaser, so you'll be able to hop back in and of course try to beat your previous high scores at any time. Right now you can pick it up for just $12.99, a new low again until the 26th. Next we have Sniper Elite 4, which is another amazing deal this weekend, once again from Rebellion Interact, and again it offers both online and local multiplayer options. This time though, the game is more about taking a strategic approach to each mission and trying to remain undetected as much as you can. Now it's set in Italy during World War II and features absolutely gigantic levels, allowing you to really take advantage of your long-range weapons, and of course the X-ray cam is here once again with all of its glory. The Switch version also has gyro controls for aiming as well as HG rumble to help you feel the impact of firing or taking damage, and if you haven't played yet, it's just $13.59, or you can get the deluxe version with a ton of DLC for $20.39. Either way, the deal ends on the 26th. Vengeful Guardian Moonrider is a single-player action platformer with a truly retro look and feel to it. It has a download around 200 megabytes and gives the players 8 different stages to tackle, again in whatever order you prefer, and each boss will provide the player with a new power-up to use for the rest of the game. What's really cool is that each of the 8 stages has its own gimmick or playstyle, and they change things up enough to keep it feeling fresh throughout the roughly 3-hour story. It has an amazing 16-bit look and even gives the player different modifiers that you can unlock, which adds things like taking less damage, or if you're crazy you can even turn on the one-hit kills so every enemy becomes incredibly dangerous. I highly recommend picking this one up. It's on sale for just $13.59, again a new low until the 26th. Next we have Beacon Pines, which is a single-player narrative-driven puzzler with a download around 1.1 gigs, and it offers roughly 5 to 6 hours of main story. Now in this one we play as 2 characters, both the reader of the story and the main character found within that story, and while it does give you some different choices to make throughout, ultimately they all lead the player to the same ending, even if it takes a few different routes to get there. Now that's not to say there aren't a few surprises to be found throughout, and of course it has a gorgeous art style. It is a simple game, but it's great for what it's trying to be, and it's an enjoyable experience. Right now you can pick it up for just $13.99, marked down 30% until the 26th. Next we have Chained Echoes, which is a massive single-player JRPG with a download around 1 gig, offering players a story that could last more than 40 hours to complete. The pixel art graphics are next level for a non-AAA title with animations that almost rival games like Octopath Traveler 2. Now in this one we follow a small group of adventurers on a quest to restore peace and put an end to a war that's been raging on for quite a while. The battles are turn-based, but I do have to note that the random battles have been removed for those that find that a bit tedious, and of course the world is huge and encourages exploration. Sadly, the game doesn't have any voice acting, but if you're okay with reading instead, this is an RPG well worth your time. Right now it's on sale for just $21.24, marked down 15% until the 26th, bringing it to a brand new low here on the Switch. Hey everyone, real quick, I wanted to share a story about today's video. As I was recording the audio, I received a notification for a new video from our buddy Nima over on NGC Gaming Community, and naturally I had to check it out. Anyway, it's pretty funny and I wanted to share it with you all, so please head over and check it out for him, and let's help him get to that first 1K here on YouTube. It will mean a lot to him, and he's a good dude, he works hard, and actually plays the games he reviews, which is refreshing these days. I'll have a link down below, and now, here are some other deals to check out while you're already on the eShop. Alright everybody, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you'd like to support the channel, please drop a like down below. And if you're new here, I hope we earned a click on that subscribe button. And if you made it this far anyway, why not join the crew? Either way though, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe, my friends.